Mike's Daily Podcast.
Oh, this is so annoying. Hey, how you doing? Well, that's not how you should start off a podcast, saying this is so annoying. Hey, I've got my face mask.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
I've got my face mask on. It sounds so good to podcast. With your face mask on, it sounds kind of like you've got a duck inside your mouth. Oh, it doesn't sound very good. Word up, that's the code word. Everybody knows it. And you'll be heard. I'm gonna take this mask off. Hey, here's a little tip. Don't ever touch your mask.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
With your hands. Then how am I supposed to take off the mask if I don't use my hands? So many rules that we have
Mike's
to follow.
Daily
Follow.
Podcast.
And that's what the show is called.
Yeah!
All right. Well, what we today are going to cover is interesting things that are going on in the world today when you are listening to Mike's Daily Podcast. I think that I yesterday enjoyed checking out in Pleasanton. What they're doing in downtown Pleasanton is they are taking all of those all that space that the restaurants need to make the patios. Some restaurants don't have a very big patio. They just have the sidewalk, right? Just a couple of feet that people can sit in and scrunch in, and then then you have to have all this room for the pedestrians that are walking by. So what they have decided to do is they have said, you know what? Sidewalk doesn't matter. Let's just close up the whole street. And the restaurant can go all the way into the street with their patio. And people can walk in the patio, the whole street. And it was social distancing. There's all this room for social distancing now, because the restaurants open up to... I love this. I love outdoor patios. I love all that space. I love the fact that there aren't any cars spewing out their smog, although in California we have such strict smog test rules. As you know, I lost a car recently because of that.
And here's today's podcast picture.
It was sacrificed, thanks to the laws of California. But yeah, you have all this room now in downtown Pleasanton, and I think other downtown areas have closed off their main streets, which then, of course, diverts all the traffic to the other streets. But if you're smart and you say, hey, I want to get some exercise and walk a little bit, you park a little ways from where you typically used to park, and you can walk a little bit and have the outdoor air. And I wish Basil was still around, because I loved going to outdoor patio areas, places that let you bring your dog, and I used to love to sit with him and eat. We went to a lot of cool places. What was that? We had that used to upset me to no end. In Half Moon Bay, there was this really good sandwich shop, but they had no outdoor patio, so I had to always leave them in the car when I went inside to eat. See, now they can't get away with that because they can't have any indoor seating. So, it's forced them probably. They've got outdoor seating now. All these restaurant owners that were so lazy not to have outdoor seating. What was the other place we used to go to was there anywhere in Podcastro Valley? There really wasn't any outdoor seating. In fact, that's still something. Castro Valley is not doing that good of a job with outdoor seating, I have to admit. I'm trying to think. I went through downtown recently. Yeah. Now, Hayward, however, they've opened up a lot of outdoor seating. That's true. Like Buffalo Bills is a place that had outdoor seating. I don't know if they're doing that right now or not. So, anyway, that's just what I'm saying is the one good outcome out of all this is more outdoor seating. And a lot of these restaurants in Pleasanton put out, let's say, a nice tent or umbrellas and just had a nice area. It was social distancing going on. And when you eat, you can't have the mask on, so you need the social distancing. So that's what I noticed, and that is a trend, and hopefully it will continue. I like it. It's okay. It's inconvenient for people that I like to drive up Main Street. Well, too bad. Now this is how it's going to be. And Mike Matthews now is going to record a little thing for YouTube here. Oh boy. This is okay, we'll do this kind of thing. We're going what we've done at YouTube, the website you possibly have heard of, possibly you have the app. If you go to youtube.com/Mike's Daily Podcast, you will see this little thing here. I should probably hide this computer screen though. Don't want people to see that. But yes, it's a wonderful time to have you here at Mike's Daily Podcast. Cafe Anyway. This is one of the rooms of Cafe Anyway. It looks kind of like an office room. Very boring, the fake ceiling. There's probably a Russian spy hid up there somewhere, about to fall through, because that can't support his weight up there. I can't wait for that to happen. Let's wait for it to happen. It's not happening. Rats. Hey, word out to the City of Lights bookstore. Pictures. That's the t-shirt I have on today. Yeah. So that's something I love, and I enjoyed that in downtown Pleasanton yesterday, seeing all that. Medical masks, face masks. There was a woman from Johns Hopkins talking this morning on something I was listening to on my way in, about how we really need to remember, along with the face mask, to wash our hands and sterilize them as much as possible. And, realize that, you might have a face mask on, but if you haven't washed your hands, you go up and touch your face mask with your hands that are all full of coronavirus, possibly, who knows, or something else that might be bad for you, then you've defeated the purpose. And this is from a gal. I call her a gal because I'm from the Old West, and everybody's called gals and guys. Let's all go to the sock hop and dance. But this woman dealt with the Ebola virus, and no matter how bad the coronavirus is, the Ebola virus is 8 billion times worse. Oh my gosh. If you caught that, you died, basically. Remember how bad that was? That was just a few years ago. Thank God we don't have that as a pandemic right now. At least the coronavirus, we can... Well, it's difficult to maintain, as you know. We have to stay inside, we have the lockdown, we have to tell our downtown streets to shut down so we can open it up and have wonderful outdoor seating. Yay! But make sure your hands are clean first, and that you need to make sure the mask is completely covering your face in order for it to work, obviously, and that you can't have any crevices open. And make sure that your mask is clean on your face, and don't wear the same one for 7 days. So let's contemplate that for a second. Today's show, I think, is going to be called Contemplate, or Contemplative, or something to that effect, some derivative of that, because the podcast picture was actually taken by my cousin, Anki, who was visiting from Germany 8 years ago. And we were over at Baker Beach in San Francisco, and I haven't been back there since, so I need to get back there. It's been a while now. And she got a picture of me. I was staring out into the fog, as there's a lot of fog around San Francisco this time of year in the summertime, as not Tom Sawyer, but the guy that wrote him, Mark Twain, wrote that the coldest winter I ever had was a summer in San Francisco. It gets cold here across the bay. Not exactly here at Cafe Anyway in Podcastro Valley Mont, the last place on earth. But yeah, it gets cold. And so this podcast pictures me, shorts. That shows that I'm from the East Bay because I'm wearing shorts. But then I've got this big old fleece thing on and a hat, and I'm standing in the cold water. And you can see that picture at mikesdailypodcast.com because I know you want to. And that happened 8 years ago when Anki was visiting. Which she's in Germany right now, and Germany is doing really well as far as the coronavirus. They locked down, they wore masks, they social distanced, unlike us. So we are stepping it up. I'm happy to say that from what I've seen, it looks like we're stepping it up. More masks are being worn. By the way, face masks do not decrease the oxygen flow as previously thought. Yes, it's, or as some people have said on the internet, oh, you're getting too much carbon dioxide into your system. It increases the carbon dioxide. You're not getting enough oxygen. That is not true. There have been no studies to prove that. You have doctors that work on patients in operating rooms for 8 hours plus with these masks on, and they have never been shown to have a decrease in oxygen in their blood. So it's a fallacy. And apparently, this was all from this woman from Johns Hopkins, the Hopkins people. And apparently that face mask idea, that the glass mask that covers the face shield, basically, the glass shield, she said that is a really good idea and they really work because what she said, it covers your face, your ears. I would say, however, don't they come down? To me, they don't come down enough. I mean, you might as well be wearing an astronaut helmet if you're going to go that far. But she said, no, they cover you enough, even though I think they look ridiculous. But her whole thing was, from Johns Hopkins, that they're good in that they allow you to show facial expressions. Because here we are communicating, not showing our mouths, not smiling, not doing it. Everything we're communicating is through our eyes and the sound of our voice and our hands. So it's very interesting how we are overworking the hands, overcompensating with the eyes, the eyebrows, the hands. And have you noticed, you really get to notice people's eyes with this. And you go, wow, my coworker Bill has some beautiful eyes. And those eyebrows, how does he maintain those eyebrows so nicely? And some of you may know, speaking of coworkers, so I'm a person that hires people. I'm, I guess, a headhunter, sort of, for my job. I'm the only one that goes out and hires anybody. And I have noticed that I was deterred from hiring people in the past couple of months because a lot of people were like, hey, I'm unemployed. I'm getting a $600 unemployment check per week, or cheek per week. And now that's done. So it's amazing how many more job applications I'm going to be getting. Is it Hurricane Isaias? Anywho, I talked to my mom last night in Daytona Beach, and she was a little bit worried about that. It looks like now it's downgraded to a tropical storm. Hopefully it stays that way, because it was starting to look kind of scary there. So hoping the best for Florida and Georgia and the Carolinas. So yes, that's why we need face shields. That's why we need umbrellas if you're in Florida. Actually, umbrellas don't work in Florida. Just get a poncho. That's what I've discovered. Because it rains so hard, it doesn't even help. And the White House Coronavirus Task Force Coordinator, Dr. Deborah Birx, said that the Wuhan coronavirus pandemic is in a new phase. And you can tell I read this from a conservative website, because they never just call it the coronavirus. They have to put in there, it's the Wuhan coronavirus, because the Wuhans made it. It was invented in a lab. So the Wuhan coronavirus pandemic is in a new phase, with infections being more widespread across the country. The virus is no longer just in population-dense urban areas. It's now in more rural states and cities. And she is keeping an eye on 19 states in particular. Want to know what they are? I'm going to say them really quickly. Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, Florida, Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, Texas, Missouri, Iowa, Kansas, Nebraska, Colorado, Arizona, Utah, Idaho, California, Oregon, and Washington State. Are we in a new phase of the pandemic? And if so, what are we going to do to change course? She says, I think those are two very critical questions because we are in a new phase, and that's why I wanted to make it clear to the American people. It's why we started putting out governor reports directly to the health officials and the governors in every single state, because we could see that each thing had to be tailored. Every state is given their own tailored set of recommendations and guidelines based on the area and what's taking place at local hospitals, which is why every state's response is vastly different. And there you go. Look who's outside a cafe anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley Mont today.
Hello, Mike Matthews. It's Chely Shoehart, gift shop supervisor. Like, I have my face mask on, and I have a force field around me.
Oh, really? Who made the force field for you?
John Deere, the engineer, like, duh.
Okay, so it's like you have a snow globe around you.
Yes, Mike Matthews, I love snow globes.
Yes, I know you sell them in the gift shop all the time. Are you going to sell these force fields? These cones of silence around? Are you going to sell those for people to put them around them at the gift shop?
No, Mike Matthews, they're just for me.
I'm just saying you could sell them.
They cost a lot of money, Mike Matthews.
I'm just saying bring the cost down and you'll sell more. This is what I know about economics. Who else is here? Oh, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman! And this is John Deere, the engineer. Yes, I made the force fields for Chely Shoehart. I hope they help a lot. Excellent. By the way, I think the show is almost over. So next show, it's going to be the wonderful Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster. And by the way, it's probably not the best way to end a podcast, by the way, except that this was FM episode 2100. 2100. Woo! There we go. 2100. 2100. It's a brave new world. The year 2100, which I think pretty much all of you will not see, but let's be hopeful. Maybe you will. Woo! All right. Tell me what you think about anything we covered at 336MM Daily. 3 plus 3 equals 6. MM is in Mike Matthews. Daily isn't what this podcast will try to be daily. Thank you. Take it away, A-Frame.
Now your adventure through inner space has begun.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye.
Magnification.